Welcome to Half Haunted, where the podcast tragedy lingers and the history echoes through shadowed halls. I'm your host, Candy, and today I'm not just telling you a story, I'm taking you back to the place I currently call home, Quincy, Illinois. But this isn't about small town charm or local pride. This is about one of the most heartbreaking events in Midwest history, one that still leaves an echo in my city's heart. And I'm joined today by my special guest host and best friend, Raji Clark. This isn't just a ghost story. It's a story of innocence, fire, and the lives of 12 young girls whose names Quincy has never forgotten. It was December 22nd, 1899, a bitter bone-cutting winter's day, and inside St. Francis Solana School, children were gathered for what would have been a joyful afternoon, but their final dress rehearsal before Christmas. Laughter, music, excitement, the kind of innocent anticipation that only children can create. But within minutes, that joy turned to horror. This is the story of the 12 little angels. The St. Francis School, Solana School stood at the corner of 18th and College in Quincy, run by the school sisters of Notre Dame. Faith, discipline, and a strong community lived within its walls. Every December, the Christmas pageant was the highlight of the year. Families, teachers, children gathering to celebrate. That morning, on the third floor auditorium was transferred into a holiday wonderland. Gas jets lined the walls for light. Cotton batting was draped into the corners to create the illusion of snow. Children wore angel wings, shepherd's robes, and most dangerous of all, lamb costumes made flammable cotton batting. The room smelled faintly of oil lamps. Teachers made last-minute adjustments. Children whispered lines under their breath. And then it happened. A young girl dressed as a lamb stepped too close to a gas jet, and her costume ignited with a woof, a sound that in seconds became the roar of a fire. She screamed and ran, the flames chasing her across the stage. Fire leapt from her to the next girl and the next, cotton batting turning into a torch. That's scary. The sound was deafening screams, the crackle of burning fabric, and shouts of teachers.
That gets me, it freaks me out. I mean, between the panic, the thought of, and who made it think it was okay to
even have like the normal stuff we do? So that probably the go-to, you know what I mean?
They had stunt doubles.
I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
I am sorry about
Sister Theotima Detroiter threw herself into the blaze, dragging the children away. She would later lose both her arms to the burns she suffered. Music teacher Frank Mosholt fought his way through the smoke, pulling students out until he collapsed from his injuries as well. But for the 12 girls, there was no escape.
Do they have a picture of this teacher with her arms? Because can you imagine what her arms look?
They do. I'll have to find one. But I have the 12 little girls. I'm sure there's a picture somewhere on the internet. So their names are etched into Quincy's memory, and I'll name them. Now, if I mispronounce any of these, I'm sorry. Cecilia Vonda here, Mary Wavering, Margaret Werner, Wilhelmina Cottendorf, Bernadine Frond, Mary Futterer, Mary Hickey, Olive Tempe, Iron Freeberg, Colette Middendorf, Mary Altoff, and Josephine Bone, ages 9 to 11. The fire burned so fast that many were gone in minutes. Their small bodies were carried to St. Francis Church, where their parents, many of whom had just down the street, waited in disbelief. That would be so sad.
Yeah.
It would. It'd be sad. On Christmas Eve, the city fell silent. White caskets lined the church, each holding a life that had sung in joy only days before. 12 girls were buried side by side in a mass grave at St. Boniface Cemetery. I believe one of them, I don't remember which, was buried with her family, but not with the other 11.
Gotcha.
Above them stands a tall angel statue with the arms stretched out. Locals call her the guardian of the 12. Makes sense. Over the decades, the stories began. Teachers locking up late at night. They would hear faint sounds of giggling in empty classrooms. Custodians found tiny barefoot prints in the dust of locked rooms. Near the Angel Monument in St. Boniface Cemetery, some claim the statue weeps. Others see shadows of small girls in white dresses dancing under the moonlight only to vanish. These aren't the frightening kind of haunts. They feel gentle, like the girls are still waiting, still rehearsing for a pageant that never came.
Do you think they're strapped in there?
Well, I don't think so. I think they're remembered, and maybe that's just enough to keep them there. No, maybe they're just trying to reenact a pageant or whatever. I've been there to the cemetery and I've seen the statue. I didn't see it weep, but I don't discount anybody else. They could have seen something. It's kind of like you have that sense that you're not alone at that cemetery, and that's the only cemetery I felt like that before. So it's right in the middle of town. It's not too far from. Yeah, it's pretty though. It's older cemetery. The tragedy sparked change, school safety rules, awareness about flammable costumes, better fire prevention. But for Quincy, it was more than policy. It was a wound. Mr. Theotima returned to her religious life with prosthetic arms, quietly serving until her death. In Quincy, she's remembered as a hero. Just this past December, on the 125th anniversary of the fire, the bells of St. Francis tolled 12 times, one for each little angel. The city gathered in a candlelit vigil. Families stood shoulder to shoulder, holding photographs passed down through generations. They are big on these little girls. Yes. Nice that they do that. The school still stands, its walls holding echoes of laughter and grief. And if you walk those halls alone, maybe, just maybe, you'll feel a brush of air. I've been by there. It's nice. I've told a lot of stories on Half Haunted, but this one lives in my bones. I walk past the school. I've stood in the cemetery, looking up at the angel's face. I've traced my fingers over the names carved in stone.
Do you believe they're still here?
Yes, but not in a way that frightens me, but in that quiet, steady way that memory refuses to fade. Some hauntings aren't about terror. Some are about presence. And why tell stories like this, you say? Because these girls deserve more than a history book. They deserve to be spoken with love.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yes. Have you ever felt the past reach out to you? Or have you stood somewhere and known you weren't alone? If you answered yes to any of those, feel free to email me at halfhauntedpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on TikTok at Half Haunted Chronicles or YouTube at Half Haunted Podcasts. Because Half Haunted isn't just about ghosts, it's about the ones who stay with us, stay curious, and always haunted.